Hey, how's it going? I thought this would be fun to do sort of a informal just workout video slash it's also going to be kind of a review of the Eisenlink dumbbells, as I'm using them to do various exercises. I'll tell you what I think. To be completely honest, I haven't used these extensively. They sent them to me just to demonstrate how they work with the cart in the review. So I was kind of focused on that, not really on the dumbbells themselves in that video. So I thought it'd be cool to do another video just talking about the dumbbells and what I think of those and, how they feel, how they function, how it is to adjust the weights, all that stuff. And you'll be able to also see how it works with the cart as well. But all right, let's do it. I'm going to start with some upper body because that's way more fun, right? I'm going to do some incline bench. So to start off, I'm just going to have to lower the weights here. And if you're not super familiar with these, I went a little too far there. That's one thing on these I'll say right off the bat is the screws, I think, could be a lot longer. Actually, I guess they can't because if you have a lightweight, yeah, they'll hit each other. So that's the limitation there. See, the screws, you have to back them out a certain amount so that you can get the plates off because of these set screws in here that catch the plates and hold them together. So if you can unscrew the screw like really slightly and the plates will be loose, but you're not actually able to pull them up because you have to clear that screw. So you have to screw them out enough. And you also, the thing is you also have to leave space for your fingers because this 2.5 pound plate has to go on the outside because of how it's designed. And that's what I find is kind of the only like slight annoyance I'm having with these is that you have to back out the screw enough so that you're not like pinching your knuckles right here. And it's really, you have to have it almost all the way and it's easy to go a little too far and the screw falls out, which isn't a big deal, but it's just a little bit annoying when it happens. But anyway, I'm just going to start warming up with like 40 pounds here. And stop talking and start lifting. So for me, one of the things I noticed pretty soon is like a fairly easy way to count the plates is to just look, because the handle is 10 pounds. The screws that hold the plates on are 2.5 pounds each. So the handle plus the 2 screws obviously is 15. And then you have these 2.5 pound plates. So if you have all of those, the screws and the 2.5 pound plates, that's a 20 pound dumbbell. And then the other plates are 5 pounds each. So 2 of those makes 10. So basically, if you look down here and you see, you can kind of just count the number of thicker plates, including the inside of the handle. So like, if you see 4 of those, that would be I was going to say 40 pounds. Am I right on that? That would be 30 pounds plus 15. No, it's 45. Okay. So my system needs some work. Because I don't have the 2.5s on. This is off to a great start in this video. All right. Maybe I'll just cut all that out. Anyway, all right. And just do some warm-ups here. Get the joints loosened up. 40 pounds. Or 45, I guess I just said. And this set of dumbbells, these Eisenlinks, they only go up to 80, which is a little light for me on incline dumbbell bench, but not super light. Like, I'll probably be in like the 12 to 14 range, somewhere like that. Normally I would go heavier and be like around 8 reps for this exercise, but not a big deal. I mean, I'm definitely a believer that the rep range is not super important. As long as you're getting close to failure or to failure, it's still going to stimulate hypertrophy. The only issue with really high rep ranges is it's easy to misjudge how close to failure you are. Like, you might, because you start getting the muscle burn. See right there, I kind of pinched my finger a little bit because I didn't pull this screw out all the way. So you gotta watch for that. Anyway, high reps, it starts to burn. Say it starts burning at like rep 15, and you think you're close to failure. And maybe if it's a big compound movement, you start getting out of breath, and then you end the set at like 18 reps, where in reality, you know, maybe you could have done like 25 if you like really pushed it, but it's so uncomfortable that you just end the set early without getting close to failure. And then in that case, you really probably aren't getting an equal stimulus. But it depends on the exercise. Some exercises are easier to push into those high rep ranges and still hit failure. Some exercises are a lot more difficult, like squats or deadlifts, and even dangerous probably, because your form breaks down and you start getting into positions you're not acclimated to and you haven't trained in, and then you get injured. Anyway, I'm rambling. This is going to be a video of me rambling. I can tell already. So I'm not very meticulous about like warm-ups, at least with dumbbell exercises. I don't like calculate out a percentage or anything and like try to hit the exact same jumps every time. And some days if I'm feeling like stiff or just like sometimes you just need more warm-ups, right? Or like smaller jumps, or maybe more reps on each jump, just to start feeling, you know, in the groove and comfortable with the movement. So you just have to auto-regulate that. And I'm noticing right now that just, if you're an astute observer, if you watch the review that I did on the carts, you know, I was like taking the plates off and going like this. Whereas just, you know, using this more without thinking about it, I'm finding it a lot more comfortable to like just reach around this way with the plates versus reaching over the top. So, I mean, either way works, but I'm just naturally gravitating towards that way of using it. All right, so 80 pounds. First actual work set here. See how many reps I can get. All right, that was, I think it was 14, right? Hopefully I'm counting right. Holy shit. This video's already been going for 14 minutes. That can't be right. Maybe I did like a different intro and then started over. I can't remember. Anyway. Yeah, 14 reps. That's what I would call 0 RIR RP10. I could have, you know, the way I was grinding at the end there, there's no possibility that I would have got another rep. I could have went for it. Sometimes I will. I mean, not if it's a grind like that. I probably wouldn't. Because there's really no point. You're just going to get stuck right at the bottom. But, yeah. That's pretty much how I train on most upper body movements for sure. And leg isolations. I'm not going to 0 RIR like that on squats and deadlifts. I'm not failing with those heavy compound movements with a barbell in machine if it's safe. I definitely will though. Anyway, so I figured I would superset these. And that's the beauty of the cart here. Slide it over here. And over here, I have, let's see, I have so many convoluted contraptions and a million pulleys and different types of chest supported things over here. This is like a whole series of videos on all the stuff I've rigged up on this rack, but today I'm just gonna, for now, I figured I'd come over here and do some chest supported rows like this. And honestly, I feel like I don't really feel a big need to do additional like warm-ups for this movement. You know, my shoulders and elbows are already warmed up. My back muscles aren't like technically, like I haven't been doing any kind of warm up for those, but this is a, you know, a dumbbell chest supported row is like a very shortened overload movement. It's not like it's really taxing me in the stretch position or anything. Like I don't think there's like any risk of injury from doing this movement and not doing like a bunch of like specific incremental warm-ups beforehand. So I'm just going to grab these 80s and jump into it. And this is where the knurling on these becomes a little relevant here. So I'll just lower this down so you can see a little closer. The video quality on this one, you might notice, is not quite equivalent to the last ones because I'm using a different camera. That's just a lot easier. I'm using a 360 camera. So that's just much easier. I don't have to worry about framing it and getting everything lined up. I can just move the camera around if I need to, but of course, the trade-off is I have to go in and edit it later and point the camera where I want it and frame it. But even that is a lot easier than doing it while I'm trying to get through a workout. So anyway, you can see the knurling here. It's pretty passive, and it's also, you know, powder coated over it, which fills in some of the knurling and makes it even, you know, that's part of why it's so passive. So it's definitely not up to par with, you know, like a typical barbell, like a Ohio Power Bar or anything like that. Even when I had the Ironmaster handles, I would say they definitely had significantly better knurling than this. It was a little sharper, well, quite a bit sharper and grippier. But it's not like the worst knurling I've ever seen on a piece of gym equipment either. Like some budget equipment just has like absolute joke knurling, and this isn't that bad. So anyway, these are only 80s, so I shouldn't need straps or anything, I don't think. I'm just gonna come over here. So that's a good example of why you really want to be able to walk in to the cart with your arms straight. Because when you finish a set like that, the last thing you want to do is be like trying to like lift the weight higher to get it back on the rack. Especially if your grip is failing or whatever. I don't even know how many I did. Was that like 13 or 14 or something? I did partials at the end too, so I pretty much will do that on almost all back exercises because, you know, they're so much harder in the shortened range that if you're like, well, if the bar doesn't hit my chest, then that's failure. You know, I didn't get that rep, so I failed. If that's where you're stopping, on your back exercises, you're like, I think, severely understimulating your back muscles with that set, because you have so much more left. And you're like, especially you're not training at that longer muscle length, which is, I think, not the be all end all of muscle growth, but it has, I think, been shown to be like very important to get that lengthened training stimulus. And I think exercises that train the lengthened position harder are probably, if you compare set by set, probably more effective. But that's not to say that that should be the only exercises you do, because it's likely that it has more fatigue. In some cases, maybe greater risk of injury, especially if you're not warmed up very well. But overall, those exercises are probably better. So I think they should probably be like the basis of your training for each muscle group. Like those should be your core exercises, ones that are harder in the lengthened position. But when it comes to back and free weights, that's really hard to do. So the next best thing, I think, is, all right, we're back. Apparently my camera overheated, which is ridiculous. It's not hot in here at all. But anyway, I have a fan blowing on it now. Hopefully that will help it to last a little bit longer this time. Yeah. Anyway, what I was saying is, on free weight back exercises, I feel like the best thing you can do is just keep going until you basically can't move the weight anymore. Then you've like stimulated all the positions. Like you've got a good amount of work in at those longer muscle lengths. So yeah, and so the camera overheated. So that gave me a chance to go back and count. I think I got 17 on this, including that last, like all the partials in there as well. Counted up to 17. So anyway, I'm going to do the bench again. And one thing with these I saw people complaining about is the length of the handle. It's like, I think it's 6.9 inches. The Ironmasters, I think, are 6.5. So it's just slightly longer than those even, and people complain about those. I understand the complaint. Like I do, like it is better having a shorter handle, as far as it makes it easier to grab like right in the middle without like lining up your grip precisely. And then it just balances a little better with the weight closer in. But it's just a drawback of the like screws going through the handle design, because if you make the handle too short, the screws will hit each other, and then you're not able to start the dumbbells at a lighter weight, because you need more space. You'd have to put like more plates on the outside. They'd need a higher starting weight if the screws were longer, because they wouldn't fit inside a shorter handle. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. But so you do need to like kind of be a little mindful of getting your hands centered. But once you do that and figure that out, it's not terrible. Like if you do happen to like grab it slightly off at some point, you'll notice it, and it will feel maybe slightly off kilter. But I wouldn't. It's not like a deal breaker. It's just a drawback of the design. Anyway. See, that was one where I probably knew pretty clearly that I wasn't going to get another rep, but that last one wasn't just like a complete all-out grinder, so it's like I'll just go for it, and if I don't get it, it's fine. And I don't know, I've never had a problem just, if I fail a rep, lowering it to my chest and then sitting up. I get that it's a little harder on if you're doing flat dumbbell bench, but even then, if you just pull your knees up and just kind of like rock forward with the weight, I mean, I've done that many times too. So, and that was back when I was a lot stronger. There's videos of me on the channel, you know, before I was doing anything like this. Just like, there's hundreds of videos of just me doing a set of whatever exercise. So if you're curious, you can go back and look. There's ones where I'm doing, well, and it's in that old Ironmaster video I did too, the DIY Ironmaster thing. I think I was doing like 120 flat bench and just lower it to the shoulders, bring the knees up, rock forward, and sit up. So like, personally, I have never felt the need to like throw my dumbbells on the floor at the end of every set, whether I go to failure or not. I don't know, maybe, I mean, when you get up to, if you're Ronnie Coleman and you're doing 200-pound dumbbells, then yeah, I mean, if that's what you need to do, then do it. But I don't know, I'm just never understood really the obsession with that. And this floor here, this is 2 layers of OSB and then a layer of stall mats. And I just did this entire area so that it's all level and I can roll the benches and roll the dumbbell cart and everything without any weird obstacles and things that are different height. So this floor can take it. I can drop dumbbells on here, but I don't do that as a matter of practice because, well, A, I don't want to just, you know, accidentally break the dumbbells if by some, I mean, I think the rep-ins and these ones also are like, they can hold up to that, but, you know, on the off chance that it just somehow hits just perfect to break something, I don't want to deal with that. And then, but the bigger thing is I don't want it to go like bouncing and smash into something else, like into the cable tower or the wall or whatever, because this is a tight space, as you can probably tell here. And there's just not like a lot of free space to just like toss dumbbells and like let them land wherever they feel like. So I don't do that. But that being said, here, I'll do a drop test for you guys. There we go. Drop this one. All right. Seems secure. Let's see, did they even come loose? Not really. I heard like a clink, like maybe it had come loose, but the screws still feel tight. So, how about this one? Yeah, those feel tight. So there you go. If anyone wanted to see a drop test, you got it. All right. I guess I should just keep this water bottle over here so I don't have to keep going off camera. All right. Do another set of these, and I think I'm just going to do 2 sets of everything because this will be a super long, boring video. Probably already is, but it'll be even longer and more boring if I try to do 3 sets of everything. But that's, I don't know, I'll do between 2 or 3 sets typically if I'm doing a workout like this. And I like to superset everything just to save time. So I call it a superset. You might prefer to call it alternating sets because I'm not like jumping straight from one into the next one with no rest. I still rest between, but you know, and I'm resting even more here because I'm talking to the camera and just rambling and ranting. But if I'm doing an actual workout by myself, not recording it, a lot of time, like for dumbbell bench and a back exercise, whether it's something like this or if I'm doing pull-ups or some kind of cable back exercise, upper body compounds, I will typically do like a 2-minute rest. So I finish my set of bench, rest 2 minutes, do my back exercise, rest 2 minutes, go back. So really, I'm getting like 5 minutes and change of rest in between each working set of the same exercise. So I like longer rest periods like that. Probably because you can probably tell I'm not like a cardio champion here. Like I'm huffing and puffing, just trying to talk to you guys. So something I should probably work on. But and going back to when I was into powerlifting, I would rest like 10 minutes plus between sets of heavy squats and deadlifts and everything. So I don't know. I like that. That's how I keep it so I can still rest and recover between sets and feel like I'm getting like a really good effort on each set while not having my workouts take like 3 hours. This one might end up being 3 hours because of how much time I'm spending talking to you guys. But yeah, what was I going to say? I don't know. I just need to do a set. I'm going to see. Here's the beauty of this. Just going to wheel this right over here. Well, not that close because the dumbbell's going to hit it. See, I can get this right up next to the seal row pad here. And I don't know, why don't we just maybe adjust our angle just for kicks. Adjust the fan too so it doesn't overheat. All right. Give you guys more of a close-up view. And I realize the microphone, I think, is getting smashed right here. So I don't know. The audio might just be trash when I do this set. But if it cuts out while I'm doing this exercise, you'll understand why. Oh, okay. So that one, that I could say was 17 again, but I'm not even count that last one because I feel like It's almost like I only thought about moving it. I don't know if it actually moved. Yeah, so that is how I would suggest training your free weight back exercises. Yeah. And, you know, I'm not using any straps or Versa grips for this. I do sometimes, especially if I'm going heavy. Like if I was doing this for 8 reps, I might use the Versa grips. But definitely heavier than 8, I probably would. Especially on the rep-ins, they have a little bit bigger diameter handle, which is kind of a blessing and a curse, because it does feel a lot nicer for pressing, I think. But when it comes to any kind of rows or pulling movements, that larger diameter grip, it's harder to hold on to and taxes your forearms and your grip to the point where it could, depending on your grip strength, that could become the limiting factor. Your grip strength and how heavy of a weight you're going, etc. So I don't want my grip to limit me on back exercises. So if I feel like it is, or if I'm pretty sure that it might, then I'll just use straps. But on this, I don't feel like that was the limiter. So I didn't need them. All right. Question is, what should I do now? I feel like probably might as well do some overhead. How about that? I don't usually do like a benching movement and an overhead pressing movement in the same workout. But I for the purposes of this video, I feel like it'd be a good way to go, just to get a little show a good variety of like ways we can use these dumbbells, and also tell them I'm trying to say. Also, do some weight changes, because like obviously a big aspect of these is like the weight changes. And if I just do a whole video at 80 pounds, it's a little disingenuous. Like, oh yeah, look how easy it is. Like, takes no time at all to change the weights. Yeah, because I didn't actually change them. So let's see, for overhead, I'll grab my phone. Grab the old Liftosaur here. Liftosaur is an app that I've been using for about a year for logging. Before that, I used the Strong app. And I really like Liftosaur, and I gotta say, when I first started using it, I did not like it. I mean, I liked it. I saw that it had massive potential, but there was a lot of really frustrating like things about it, and design issues, and like things that I thought were really obvious that other apps had that it didn't. And in the last year, they've basically addressed all of it, like 90% probably of all the like things that sort of frustrated me about it at the beginning. But I saw I saw the potential it had to the point where I bought a lifetime membership anyway and started using it a year ago. And I gotta say, I'm like glad that I did, because I'm trying to search for this exercise in here. Yeah, there it is. Because yeah, I really like the way it works, and it's like been updated basically like continuously through the last year, to the point where it's like almost completely arrived at what I envisioned it could be when I first signed up for it. So if you're looking for an app to log your training, and especially if you're into like doing your own programming, and like really tracking things and seeing how you do on lifts over time and like analytics and stuff, Liftosaur is like, I think, the best by far for that. And there are also like a lot of just, if you just want to like, here's a program that looks good, I'm going to click on that and it's going to just tell me exactly what to do. And it's going to tell me how much weight to use. And if I hit a PR, and it'll tell me to like bump the weight up next time. I don't have to think about it. It does all that too. So it has programs built in that do that. And then you can program your own. You can build and design your own programs inside of it that do those things if you want to. Or you can just, I did that for a while, but most of this year I've just kind of been like winging it in here, to be perfectly honest with you guys. And it works. It's been getting better at that aspect too. They've made it easier to just kind of like come up with workouts just from scratch and record them. It was a little bit clunky when I first started using it, but it's gotten better at that. And I think they're still adding more features that make that a little easier too. So I think that's important, because especially if you're like a more advanced lifter, you're not going to just follow a program how it's written down like to the letter for years on end. You know, you need the flexibility to like go off script once in a while when you know it's the right thing to do, or just when you get busy with life and you need to, you want to keep training. You don't want to like lose all your gains because you just stopped training because you weren't able to stick to your 5-day-a-week program. But so you got to be able to like, well, I'm only going to come into the gym maybe 2 times this week, but and it's not like any set program that I'm following. I just want to get in there and get some good work in and stimulate my muscles to the point that I will at least, at the very minimum, maintain the muscle mass that I've spent a long time building. So that's my rant about that. And there, I just knocked that off there, but no big deal. All right. I don't know if anyone is going to watch this video, but I'm sorry if you do. All right, so this is the biggest difference you're seeing right here. This is the biggest difference between the Ironmaster, the current Ironmaster system, and this old Ironmaster system, which has been updated on these Eisenlinks, is that when you go from a heavyweight, I'll show you on this side, it'll be a little easier. So this is 80 pounds, and I'm trying to take this down to 15, 35. Okay. Yeah. So this is here's how you can know, right? This is 3 plates. That's 30. And the screws are 5 when you add them both together. So this is 35. So when you're going, so if I'm going from 80 pounds down to 35 pounds, here's what I need to do. I need to back the screws out, right? I know I'm going to want 3 plates plus the screw is 35. So I back the screw out. I leave 3 plates. I take the rest off. Okay. That's all very easy. I don't have to pull the screw all the way out because the slot here, the way this slot is open, because it's a slot, not a hole, all I have to do is pull these up and take them off. So that's all well and good. But now, because these screws are fully threaded, now I have to screw it all the way down. So that's the slow part compared to Ironmasters. Because on Ironmaster screws, I'll just take this off so I can show you. On the Ironmaster screw, all right, camera overheated again. But I wonder if it's partially because I had it connected to my other phone as a monitor using the Mimo app. I'm using the Osmo 360, if any of you know anything about 360 cameras. Connected to the Mimo app via Wi-Fi. So I'm hoping that maybe that has something to do with why it's overheating so easily, because that takes extra power or whatever. So I disconnected that. I'm just running it right from I'm just recording on the camera itself with no connection to the phone. Hopefully that helps. Anyway, what I was trying to explain here is that on Ironmasters, the screw is only partially threaded, right? And then the threads inside the handle have like a notch cut out for them. So basically, the threads on the screw can slide in and out like this, and then you turn it like a half turn or quarter turn or whatever, and then it like engages the threads and it locks down tight. So you can like take it in and on and off without actually screwing it the whole way. On these, you do have to screw it all the way down. So it's, you know, it's a trade-off, because when you make a big jump from a heavyweight down to a lightweight, you got to screw it in all the way. But when you're just taking like one plate off, it's really fast, like that. So, you know, it might just depend on your training style. To me, I would say the Ironmaster version is definitely superior, just because even if you do have to take the screw entirely out, it doesn't take very long, even if you're just taking one plate off. But it does take a significantly longer time to screw those down when they're way out there. But again, these are like a more budget option. So these are cheaper than the Ironmasters. And when you go up to heavy weights, like these can go up to 160. The Ironmasters can go up to, I think, 165. If you have the heavy handle kit, the Ironmasters go up to 180. Either way, you know, if you're looking at going heavy like that, then the savings sort of compound even more. But even at the like 80 pounds, it's still quite a bit, few $100s, at least $200. I have the numbers somewhere. I like figured all this out, like, and wrote it down, but I don't have it memorized. But I'll try to get that in the video here, like an overlay or something. All right. Anyway, I have 35 pounds here. I forgot what exercise I'm even doing. I forgot the bench was up like this. All right. So I'm up for the shoulders. I suppose I could get this centered a little better. So, well, those fell off. So again, I'm using these plates. I'm hanging them on the slot, which may turn out here to be ill-advised. They seem, I mean, so far they've been balancing fine. I've been moving the cart around, but I just had one fall off. So if you want to not have to babysit that and just kind of not think about it too much, it might be better, you know, instead of hanging them on the slot like this, just hang it through this hole, which is how they, to be fair, that's how they show it in the advertisements. I've just been hanging on the slot because it seemed like it worked pretty well. All right. So 35, let's go up 45. How about 55 here for another warm up? And I'm just not really, I'll tell you one thing that'll make, yeah, 50, okay, I need 2. One thing that'll make your life easier with these is, I found out pretty quickly, is not using the 2.5 pound plates on warm-ups, and just use those when you need them for your work set. If like that's the weight increment that you really want, then use the 2.5 pounds. But the 2.5 pound plates, they need to be on the outside of the dumbbell. So if you think about it, like if I have them on the outside and I hang them down here, and then so let's say I take them off and I hang them on the peg, and then I'm going to like put them back on, but I don't want all of these. I only want some of them. Then it's just, you gotta fuss with it too much. Sometimes I have to take the 2.5. I'm trying to, this has happened to me several times. I just don't remember what the situation. Anyway, you have to like shuffle these to get the 2.5 pound on the outside. So rather than dealing with that, I would say almost just leave the 2.5s separate. Maybe hang those on the bottom peg until you need them, and then you can toss them on the outside, like when you're ready for your work set. But you don't need to be using the 2.5 pound plates when you're doing your warm-ups. You just need to get like generally like smaller jumps up to the approaching the weight that you're gonna do. This camera's not even centered. What a disgrace. Call myself a photographer. All right, I'm gonna adjust this fan here just to try to get it blowing a little better. Is it even working? I don't know. Where's the fucking air? Where's it going? I don't understand. It's like all coming over here. All right, maybe that'll help. This video. What a disgrace. All right. All right, I think I gotta look at my on the good old Liftosaur app. So like, apparently I haven't. Is that even right? Seated. Yeah, okay. Seated dumbbell press. The last time I did it was April 2nd. So it's been a while. And I did like 66.25 pounds for 10 reps. And you can see, like, when you're on the page where you're logging your current sets, it has all your history, like, right there, which is awesome. So you don't have to go looking for that. It's like right there in the app, which makes it really easy if you're doing what I'm doing and just like winging your workouts for long stretches of time. Because I just pull up the exercise I want to do. Like, oh, that's what I did last time. All right, if it's been a while, I'll try to do the same or a little bit less. If it's something I've been progressing on, I can see like, oh, it's been moving up. I'll just try to add a little bit of weight or get an extra rep or whatever. So makes it easy to kind of just do your workouts off the cuff, but still be adhering to sound principles of progressive overload and not just like doing random stuff that has no correlation to your past performance. All right. So I'm going to throw another 5 on each side. That'll bump it up to 65 pounds. So I'm not even going to use the 2.5s on this one. And I just realized at this moment that I'm not even like, I don't really have anything to superset this with. That's the thing with shoulders. It's like, what do you superset shoulders with? Because like a shoulder press, you don't want to do triceps because you're using your triceps in the shoulder press. And don't really want to do biceps either, because a lot of biceps exercises, I feel like you end up getting a little front delt involvement, especially towards the end of the set. And if you're like going from that right into your overhead press, for me, it definitely impacts my performance on one or the other, depending on the order that I'm doing it. So a lot of times if I'm doing an overhead press, I'll either do it by itself or like superset it with a back exercise, like a pull-up or something. But yeah, I guess I could be doing that, but I don't really have another back exercise that I necessarily want to do with these, just because they only go up to 80. Like the seal row is probably like the most appropriate. And I was already doing like 17 reps. So, I mean, if I did a bent over row, like a dumbbell row with these, I feel like I could do like 25 or 30. So I don't want to do that either, really. And it's kind of redundant because I already did the seal row. So anyway, I'm just going to do shoulders and then move on to arms. All right, here's my 65 pounds. See if I can get 10. That might be a stretch because it's been since April since I did that. Hey, not bad. All right, got 10. Oh, felt pretty good. I thought I might get 11, but nope. It's funny. I thought doing this video, I was like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna have to say between sets. It's probably just gonna be a bunch of awkward silence, but I can just cut it out. But now I've just been like, it's just been awkward rambling instead of awkward silence. So anyway, hopefully it's not too obnoxious. You guys can at least some decent background listening if my horrible breathing sounds while I'm doing my set isn't too bad. That can be a little much on these types of videos, I find. Like there's some people that I don't watch a lot of stuff like this where people are just like doing their workout and talking, but sometimes a few of the people that I follow on YouTube will put out videos like this every now and then. And I do like watch/listen to them. But sometimes it's like, bro, you need to get that mic farther away from your mouth or something, or like turn the gain down or something like that, because it's like too much grunting and groaning. You want a little bit of grunting and groaning, don't get me wrong, but it gets to a point where it's like I can't listen to this. So hopefully I'm not hitting that threshold for you. What else can I say about the Eisenlink dumbbells? Here, I'll show you again the situation with the pegs here. And this is one thing I should have mentioned in the review that I kind of just forgot about. And then I kind of realized it when I was editing the footage later, that like these pegs, this powder coat on here is not the world's most durable powder coat. I mean, but really no powder coat is going to hold up over time to this. Like the plates going on and off is definitely going to scratch this, regardless of how, good the powder coating is, but it's already like coming off on here. Doesn't necessarily bother me because, I mean, it's obvious that that's going to happen, so it's not like I'm surprised by it. If you go look at the weight pegs on my rack back there, I mean, the paint was scraped off of those, like, I'm sure the first, like, 2 or 3 months that I had it. And I've had that for 7 years now. So I really don't care. They're not like all like rusting and like have corrosion just like flaking off and getting everywhere or anything like that. It's just like scraped bare metal. I guess if I was maybe if you're in a garage and there's a lot of humidity and stuff, then that might start to rust, I guess. So that is something you might want to consider. But you could, like I was saying, you could just wrap those with some friction tape, and I think that would protect the, from the powder coat scraping off and being susceptible to corrosion, and then at the same time it would hold these plates a little more snugly, so they wouldn't necessarily slide in and stuff as much. And again, Just to reiterate, this is like the approved manufacturer suggested way of putting these on here. So then you don't have to worry about them like turning over and falling off. But this is what I've been doing, just because it's just slightly easier. And I guess I just like how they kind of hang straight up and down like that. Although once you start moving the cart, that's when they can start to like spin and rotate a little bit. Of course, with like if you're using this cart with Ironmasters, which, like I said, I think it would be a great option, probably the best option. There you go. So maybe judge for yourself whether you want to risk that happening. Might be better to just hang them like they tell you to. Because yeah, if you're in a garage and they fall off like that, then the plates are going to get kind of chipped up and dinged and everything. So you can definitely see why you don't want that to happen. Anyway, what am I doing with the camera? I'm going to lift this up again. So I don't need to give you like the crotch level view. So, all right, I admit it. I concede. I admit defeat. Don't hang the weights from the slot. Don't do what Donnie Don't does. That's a Simpsons reference. I'm gonna say hang them from the finger slot, not the main slot, and that way they won't fall off. All right. Sorry for leading you guys astray initially. All right, that was 2 sets. Done with the shoulders. Now, let's do some arms, right? I think for arms, you know what I'm gonna do you know what? Why not get like a little crazy here. It's just insane what we're gonna do. You won't believe it. All right, I'm gonna take this off of here. And I have this other, actually, why don't I get the, hell, my belt's falling apart. Jesus. All right, this is an unapproved usage of the gentleman. There's no S. Gentleman Fitness Club preacher curl attachment. Let's see. Will this... If I go up one more... There we go. I think that'll be good. Oh man, we got these cable retractors. Just it's insanity. So many pulleys, you can't believe it. Like, does anyone have this many pulleys? I don't know. All right. This is a preacher dumbbell. Well, it's more like an incline curl. Supported incline curl variation that I've been really enjoying. So let's see. Start with what have I've been using? I gotta see what I've been doing on here. It's 65 for 10, 65 for 9. Incline dumbbell. No, incline curl. Jeez. That's the one thing. Okay, so I've been singing the praises of Liftosaur here. One thing they really need to improve, and I need to like just go in the Discord. There's a Discord, by the way, where the owner is very active, and you can go in there and talk to him and, you know, tell him exactly like, here's things that what the hell? Things that I would like done differently or whatever. Changes that you want made to the app is what I'm trying to say. I can't think while I'm trying to enter this. They just made some change where it's like dumbbell curls now apparently are like unilateral, so you have to log your reps separately, left and right. I don't love that. I would rather just, I would like that to be optional. Oh, okay, perfect. There's a checkbox. So I unchecked it. Now it's back to normal. All right, well, that's cool because I could see, you know, in some cases, some exercises, you probably might want to log them separately. But for this, I'm just, I don't keep going with one arm when the other arm fails. So. All right, I'm going to do 40s on this. So I'll just start with 25 for a warm-up. Here I am. See, I'm like not following my own advices. Should hang the plates like that so they're safe. They don't fall off. Do as I say, kids, not as I do. You guys are seeing the top of my head a lot in this video. I'm going to have so many comments about how I'm bald and like telling me that I need to shave my head completely because it doesn't look good. I don't understand why, like, people on the internet, like, is that how you spend your time? Like telling people that you don't like their appearance and here's the ways they should change it to suit your preferences. I suppose that's just like a small fraction of what like the random like any average woman on the internet has to deal with. So sorry, ladies. I'm sure there's tons of you watching this video, but sorry you have to deal with that. All right, it's gonna warm up here. I don't know why I'm doing a warm up. I never do a warm up for this exercise, because by the time I get to you know, if I've done rows and presses and everything, like I don't need to do a lighter weight warm up for my bicep curls. But I don't know. I guess it's good for just to show the weight changes and, you know, give people an idea of like how long it takes to do everything. Anyway, so this would be, again, right here. If we have 3 plates, that's 30, plus the screws, 35. So on this one, I'm going to actually use the 2.5 pound plates. And again, like I said, those have to go on the outside. So I need one more 10 over here. All right, so that's 40 pounds. And then I'll do the same on this side. So add a couple 10s. Get the 2.5s. 2.5s on there. So these dumbbells, I'll say, have like a little bit of a learning curve as far as the most efficient way to handle the plates and swap them in and out. How far out you have to unscrew in order to be able to take them on and off and all of that. But I feel like it's not like you pick it up pretty quick. Like after using these for a couple weeks, you'd be pretty much a pro at it and know exactly what you need to do. It's still not going to be as fast as Ironmasters, but it does the job. And I will say, you know, after using the Rep-Ins for a year now, and especially using the power blocks before that, those, you know, they don't feel like a solid dumbbell. I mean, it's not like, I don't mind it. Like I said before, the Rep-Ins are like by far, I think, my favorite adjustable dumbbells I've ever used, and I think the best on the market currently. Despite having some play in the plates and rattling a little bit, and you know, I don't really care about the noise. I know a lot of people just complained to no end about the noise, and people were talking about how they hated it so much that they got rid of them or whatever. I don't have a problem with that, but all things being equal, when you're actually doing the lift, I think it is definitely preferable to have a solid feeling dumbbell. So that is one thing that these and Ironmasters have over the Rep-Ins and power blocks, is that, you know, it just feels like one solid piece of steel in your hand, or iron. And if I know some people, that's very important to them, and that's what they want in a dumbbell. And that's like a non-negotiable. So these definitely satisfy that requirement for people, if you're one of those people. All right. So let's do 40 pounds. And now this, one thing with this, I don't have this setup dialed in perfectly yet, but I have this L track. If you're curious, that's the these aluminum channels that you see all over the place here. And I've just been like going crazy with this, with the DIY setups and trying out different pulley configurations and stuff. But one thing I also use it for is to, anytime I'm using, the hell? Oh, there we go. I was like hitting the button. Anytime I'm using a chest supported pad or a back support here, like this, I will often, you know, if it's wobbling too much and it's not locked down, I mean, this is going to wobble here, but the post that it's on is nice and solid. So I have this like retractable ratchet strap that I clamp it down with. That's what I just did. And that feels much better than, you know, having the like little bit of wiggle and stuff that it would otherwise have. All right. So these are a great incline curl variation where you have the support of the pad behind your elbows, so you can really grind through the reps as you get to failure. So I like to start these at the top. Oh, yeah, that's one where I just really feel that in the biceps in a way that you don't really get doing especially like a standing dumbbell curl or barbell curl. Just getting that stretch because your arm is behind, not extreme, like just cranking your shoulder back. I've done those variations before and I don't think they do much except hurt my shoulder when I do them for weeks on end. But it's you know, enough to get a little bit extra stretch, and then your arm is out in front here and gravity is pointing straight down, obviously through your hand. So this is like the vector of gravity here, and this is your elbow joint. So obviously, even when your arm is completely extended at the bottom, you still have a significant amount of tension on your bicep. And as you come up, when your forearm is parallel to the ground, that is, you know, the heaviest point, the point of the most resistance. So it's like really like mid-range on this. And then it'll lighten a little bit as you come up to the top. So this isn't, you know, people talk about incline dumbbell curls, you know, you get a stretch, and like, yeah, you do get a stretch, especially if this was more of an incline. I have to play with the setup. I can tweak this a little bit to get it angled back a little bit more, but I can't like right now without taking it apart. You do get a stretch there, but that's not where the weight is heaviest. But does that matter? I don't think necessarily. There's been several studies on this comparing preacher curls to incline dumbbell curls. And the results have kind of gone both ways. I think they're both good exercises. I think both of them probably have enough resistance at the lengthened portion, especially like this. So like if you're on a bench and your arm is hanging completely straight down, then yeah, there's like technically no tension on the bicep at the bottom. But with this, it's more like a hybrid between an incline curl and a preacher curl. You're getting a stretch position and you have a good amount of resistance at the bottom, even if it's not the absolute maximum resistance. So even on a preacher curl, you don't have the maximum resistance at the bottom, because unless you're doing a preacher curl like this with your arms flat, which I don't know that anybody does that, other than I'm sure somebody's done it in like a TikTok video or something, but I don't think it's not an exercise that I am aware of people like training for a significant length of time. All right. Question is, what am I going to do for triceps? Could I do an over? It's not. The dumbbell's not going to be heavy enough, really, for that. If I use 2, let's see, can I do 2? Might be a little bulky. I don't normally do dumbbell tricep exercises, to be perfectly honest, but you do a dumbbell kickback. That's an exercise that I don't think is like really worth doing for most people most of the time. I don't know, some circumstances maybe, but it's like completely shortened, overloaded. Like there's no, like it's not hard at all until you're at the absolute like shortest muscle length. So, and not high on the list of like super stimulating exercises, in my opinion. What the hell am I gonna do with what about a one arm? That might be better. I could do it like this. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't typically do dumbbell exercises for triceps specifically. I know some people like that overhead with a single dumbbell. I've just never been, like, I would rather do an overhead extension with a cable. It's so much easier to get into position, and if you go to failure, it's easier, less awkward to get, back to lower the weight and put it away. But I guess I'll do another one of these since I did it with one arm, but I might I think what did I do, like 8 reps? Or I think it was only like 7 reps. All right, I'll see how I can do. I'll do 7 reps with this hand. The same. I know it probably looks like completely terrible form because I don't know if I've ever even done this exercise, but and the dumbbell is a little, I mean, these dumbbells are not like overly large and bulky compared to others, but just in general, I feel like there's not a lot of space behind my head for a dumbbell, even a compact dumbbell. So I guess I'll do the curls again, and then I'll load up a heavier dumbbell and give it a shot with like the two-handed, because that's got to be less awkward than what I was just doing. That just feels a little too unwieldy there, especially like when I get towards failure. I just realized that I have in Liftosaur, I have this exercise. It must be a custom exercise that I made. I have this listed as overheard tricep extension. So that's great. And apparently, I first made that error April 15th, 2017. So I would have actually been logging in strong at that point. But I was able to import, well, I had to import all my data into an app called Heavy, which I think you can do just on a trial subscription, if I remember right, and then export it from there, and then import it to Liftosaur. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Do a few more. You know what? What am I doing? I feel like lighting for these curls could be so much better. Let's do. Where is this? Here, this should be a little more dramatic. Got to really cater to my target demographic here. Some guy commented on one of the home gym con videos. It was like, oh, the tank top is just too much. Like, okay, bro, just trying to get a pump. Why you gotta be hating? Yeah, that was, I thought maybe I could get that 10th one, but no. Nine reps, 40 pounds. All right, that was 2 sets of biceps. So we will, I guess I'll load this up this will be a good test too, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this screw, you know, these come as a set of 80-pound dumbbells. I think they have a lighter set too, like a 50-pound. Something in that range. But what I'm not certain of is, can it be loaded? Like if I take plates from the other dumbbell, are the screws long enough to load them up heavier than 80 pounds on a single dumbbell? Because that would be good to know, like if you want to do one arm rows or whatever. So let's test that. We'll do, see, these 2.5s. I'm just gonna save those for the end. So we got 5 plates, that's 55 pounds. Seven plates, 75 pounds, plus the 2.5. So this will be 80. Once I get all these plates on here, we back up to our 80-pound dumbbell. See, that's where you gotta back this out enough that the screws can slide in. Okay, but here's the question. If I put the 2.5 on, how much thread is gonna be? Because you know, you gotta check the thread length, right? So if you look inside of here, yeah, this is probably, I should show you guys this too. If we look inside here, let's see, can we get in there? How close can we get in there with the 360 camera? You guys see that? You should be able to. So the threads don't go all the way through the handle. They only go, it's like an inch of threads or so past the surface here, right? So probably to like right there, I would think is roughly like how far the threads go in. So the screw, you know, going past that doesn't really help anything, but the strongest connection would be, you know, to have the threads go at least to right there. So now, if I put all these plates back, and then I take the screw, oops, take the screw up here, right? Now you can see, so basically, yeah, I think the screw length is like basically giving you full engagement at 80 pounds. I think that if I back this out, like if I back it out about that much, I can fit another 10-pound plate. That would be 90 pounds, or sorry, another 5-pound plate on each side. That would be 90 pounds. If I back it out for 2, honestly, that's probably because it's going through, the threads start right here, right? So that's still probably a good, almost like 2 centimeters, 3/4 of an inch. I feel like that should be, that would make a 100-pound dumbbell. And I do think that that's enough thread engagement to still be safe. I definitely wouldn't go past that. So I'm gonna grab two, god damn, okay. I'm gonna grab 2 plates here. Let me make sure I'm counting this right. 3, 9, all right, let's see how many turns do I actually get? That's probably a better way to count it. 1. It's like 1 full turn. 1.5. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's probably a no-go. I think one extra plate, 90 pound dumbbell, I think is viable. 100 pound, I wouldn't do it. All right, but we'll try 90. And put that 2.5 on here. Okay. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. All right. All right, let's see. Let's try a alternate camera angle here so we can actually see like what the triceps are doing, like the angle of the dumbbell and everything. So yeah, I have the bench at 60. Let's see, is this going to be enough? You know, if I had one of these fancy new benches where the top folds down, I mean, that would be ideal, right? But I don't. So I have to kind of like, you know what? How about this? How about the old bench wedge from AbMat? That's like exactly what the type of thing this was intended for. I honestly haven't used this that much since I got it, but there's a few things that it works really well for. One of them being cable crunches to like kind of prop my lumbar against so I can really like curl back around the pad and then curl forward. It's hard to explain right now, and I'm not going to demonstrate it on this video, but so it works really well for that. The only reason I haven't used it that much is because I tend to skip ab work. I probably should do a lot more ab work, but that's like one of the easiest things to skip all the time. So, but this, I think, yeah, you know what? I think this is going to work really well. So let's see, maybe this will be like my new favorite tricep exercise. Who knows? All right. See, this is the awkward part though, is like getting into position. You gotta like lift it up on your shoulder, I guess. Okay. And then get the hands on. All right. Oh. No, I'm stuck. See, that's why I prefer cables for these. Yeah, self-explanatory. Okay. I mean, yeah, and here I was thinking I was going to load thing up to 100 pounds. And I did what did I get? 7 or 8 with 90. I think it was 8, wasn't it? I don't know. I'm gonna call it 8. You guys can call me out on that if I'm inflating my numbers here. 90 pounds for 8. Anyway, so I don't know, maybe you guys that do that exercise a lot, maybe you have some good tips on like getting into position and bringing the weight down when you end the set. Maybe that's the case where you just want to drop the dumbbell behind you, but I mean, you can't when you're on a bench like this. So I'll be right back. I had to get the old sweat rag here. Let's see. This has probably been going on way too long at this point. But I don't know. Honestly, like I was thinking like, oh yeah, I'll do like a full body workout. I'll do like Bulgarian split squats with the leg roller and weighted back extensions on the freak athlete and all this stuff. And I'm I'm not gonna keep going for like another 2 hours doing leg exercises. So sorry guys. I know you're all dying to see another 2 hours of this. Like 6 more sets and like another hour and 45 minutes of me rambling. So I guess I should at least, at the very least, I should change up the lighting. All right. No, you know what? I feel like this is appropriate to do some lateral raises, right? With how about I do a drop set of lateral raises? How about that? I'll do a drop set of lateral raises with the Eisenlinks so you can see, you know, if you, because that's definitely the, that's like the weak point of this design, right? You have the very solid, durable, sturdy dumbbell construction, and I can't believe I didn't mention this. You know, no rails on the sides. I know some people hate rails, and they want just a solid chunk of iron in their hand. So you definitely get that with these. But the downside, of course, is the slower weight adjustments. So let's see how it actually goes if I do a drop set. And I guess I'll leave the light on so you can see me changing the weights and whatever. Even though I look more jacked with the front light turned off. So I guess I'll start this at let's start it at 40 or no, 35, 25, 15. Should I do 2.5? Because I could do 40. Let's do that way. Just so you can see, like, realistically with the 2.5s on there. What it's like. Because I don't want to come out here and like sugarcoat it and be like, oh yeah, it's like no big deal. It takes like 5 seconds to change weights. Why is everyone such a whiny little bitch? I mean, it's a significant difference in your workouts when you have to change the weights around like this compared to sliding a pop pin on the rep-ins. But that's why these are like 40% of the cost for the same amount of weight. So I want to be realistic, but at the same time, it's not like I'm saying that's the standard to judge these by when they cost like so much less. You can't really hold them up to that in the same way. And I get there's cheaper dumbbells that adjust faster, cheaper than the rep-ins that adjust faster, but then you're not getting those other benefits of these where it's, you know, more solid construction and feels like one solid piece of metal and doesn't have any rails or anything like that. So it's all about like what basically what you like the feel of and what level of durability you're comfortable with and how important it is to change weights and all of that. If you're like if you love doing like drop sets and changing weights quickly and supersetting different exercises that have like, like I did the bench press, the incline bench and the seal rows, and I just use the same weight for both. I mean, stuff like that works fine. But if you're like going to do, I don't know, like Romanian deadlifts with your dumbbells, and then you want to superset that with lateral raises, just because that's like an easy thing to throw in there in between your heavy leg work, you're not going to want to be changing that back and forth probably from like 100 and plus however many pounds down to like 20, 30, 40 pounds, whatever. Anyway, so I'm gonna do these lateral raises, get a pump, and then we'll be done. So starting with the 40s, and this is, 40 pounds is a little heavy for me to do like strict form, but when I'm doing a drop set like this, I'll just start a little heavy and then kind of go from there. I'm just trying to like totally fatigue every last muscle fiber basically as much as possible. I'm not trying to be like super strict. And really the looser form on dumbbell laterals, I feel like gets you a little more tension at the bottom because you have the inertia of the dumbbell coming down and then you have to reverse it back. And that alone is like giving you some tension where otherwise it would just be like nothing there when you're coming from a dead stop. All right, I'm going to stop talking and lift some weights. How about that? All right, that was 40. I'm gonna take out a, what am I gonna do? I have to take the 5s off. No, you know what? I'm gonna take out a 10 and just drop it down to 30. This would go faster if I had a good like plan of what I was gonna do. Obviously. But you can see it's and maybe I should have just dropped down to 35 because of how this is taking longer to change the weights. I might be dropping too much to where I'm going to get like way more reps than I normally would. Normally if I do drop sets, it's like 12 or whatever on the first set and then like 5, 5, 5. But I'm probably going to get significantly more than 5 on this. And I just do partials at the bottom of each drop, honestly. Like, why not? All right, I'm just gonna drop 5 pounds here. So now I'm down to 25 because I basically got the same reps on the first drop with 35 as I did with, or with 30 as I did with 40. So, oh wait, I did that wrong. There we go. All right, 25. I'm going to put the 2.5 back on. Instead of dropping completely down there. So do that there. All right, I guess I can put it back. All right, so this is 15, this is 20 pounds. All right. I'm still getting like 10 reps on each drop. So I feel like when I take this off, and I just notice when there's no plates, the screws actually make contact in there which I don't think is a problem. It's just, I just noticed it. They still stay secure though. So this is 15. Let's take the screws off. I don't know. I thought about just leaving. You know what? See, taking the screws off, that's where you gotta screw them off.